If you watch the cams by quickly turning them on and off, the camera light won't blink. This may be useful to catch an imposter. As the myth says, let's go into the security room and try to watch the cams by quickly turning them on and off. You can notice this camera over here to see whether the camera blinks or not. As you can see, it doesn't blink at all, so we can confirm this method works. Hence, the myth is confirmed. When you do the empty garbage task, all the thrown garbage keeps floating in the space throughout the game. Wow, let's try it. So here we are. Now let's ask one of the crewmates to do the empty garbage task. As you can see, the garbage is thrown out, and all of the garbage gets disappeared. Hence, the myth is busted. If an imposter finishes someone in between the door and closes the door, the crewmate standing opposite to it won't be able to report the body. Let's try it. Here's an imposter and a crewmate. Now the imposter will finish the crewmate and close the door. As you can see, we're unable to report the body. We can only do it after the door opens. Hence, the myth is confirmed. Go to screen resolution and reduce it. Now bring it back to normal. You can see everything in the adjacent room with full lights. Alright, to try this, we'll have to reduce our screen resolution first. Done. Let's apply it. Now we'll change it back to normal and see what happens. As you can see, we were clearly able to see everything across the room with lights on. Hence, the myth is confirmed. While scanning in the medbay, the player's head will always face towards the right. It's helpful to find an imposter when the visual tasks are off. So here is the medbay scanner. Let's do it. We're facing towards the right. Now let's move a bit and start the scan again. As you can see, now we're facing towards the left. Therefore, this isn't true. Hence, the myth is busted. If you check the vitals and polis, you can see that the vitals of the imposter will suddenly increase as soon as they finish someone. To try this, let's go to vitals and start checking it. A crewmate has been finished. Let's examine the vitals of the other players carefully. As you can see, there is no sudden increase in the vitals of any player. Hence, the myth is busted. If the doors of the laboratory are closed, you can ask any player to stand close to the cams and open the door. Only a crewmate can open the door, an imposter cannot. Firstly, let's try it as a crewmate. The doors of the laboratory are closed. Now let's try opening it while standing close to the camera. As you saw, we can open it. Now let's try the same as an imposter. As you can see, our Use button gets replaced by the Vent button since there is also a vent nearby. Therefore, this is an amazing method to find out the imposter. If you have sus on anyone, just ask them to open the doors while standing in this exact spot. Hence, the myth is confirmed. The visibility during the fixed light sabotage is directly proportional to the crewmate vision set by you. Seems interesting? Firstly, let's set the crewmate vision to 0.5x and see how much we're able to see during the light sabotage. Here's the result. Now let's check the same by changing the crewmate vision to 2x and see how much is visible. It's clearly high compared to the previous one, therefore it's true. Hence, the myth is confirmed. If you set the voting time to 0, the voting tab automatically gets closed after the discussion time. Let's try. Firstly, we'll set the voting time to 0 and start the game. Now let's call a meeting and see what happens after the discussion time. As you can see, there is no timer below. The time changes to infinite, and therefore you can take as much time as you want to vote. Hence, the myth is busted. the timer of the inspect sample task in medbay won't work during the meetings. This looks interesting. Firstly, let's start the inspect sample task. As you can see, the timer starts. Now we'll go and call a meeting. Let's check the timer once the meeting is done. As you can see, the timer worked even during the meeting. Hence, the myth is busted. The camera light blinks even if a ghost watches the cams. This looks interesting. Let's try it. Now we'll ask a ghost to go and watch the cams. Here's their point of view. As you can see, the camera doesn't blink. Therefore, we can say that the camera blink is only visible if a living player watches the cams. Hence, the myth is busted. Sounds made by the vent are only audible to the imposters. Crewmates cannot hear the sounds. Let's try this. Basically, when an imposter goes into a vent or comes out of a vent, there is a sound of the vent opening. To check whether this sound is audible to a crewmate or not, we'll stand next to a vent and ask the imposter to vent. As you can see, we didn't hear anything. Hence, the myth is confirmed. If you enjoyed watching this and want more Mythbusters videos, make sure to like and subscribe. Let's keep a like aim of 100K. Hope you guys do it.